Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking this quiet but honestly kind of violent friction that's disrupting workplaces all over the globe right now. We're talking about the massive collision between lightning-fast AI tech and notoriously slow corporate culture. You probably felt it in your own office, right? That super awkward tension when somebody figures out a totally brilliant, hyper-efficient way to work, but the bureaucracy just doesn't know what to do with them. We're going to dive into the hard data and some wild real-world stories to explain exactly why this is happening and how the absolute best professionals are surviving it. All right, let's jump in.
Section 1. The Prompt Hiding Junior. To really understand this friction, we got to look at this viral story about a junior marketing employee. They were an absolute wizard with AI, but they were holding on to a pretty major secret. Whenever the team asked how they were getting all this brilliant work done so fast, the junior just flat out refused to share their prompts. It actually got so intense that management tried to set up a shared Notion workspace to pull everyone's AI knowledge. But the junior's defense? It was brutally blunt. They literally said, "I studied on weekends and after work. Why share my personal know-how for free?" To them, just handing over that hard-earned intellectual property without getting any compensation or recognition felt completely unfair.
So, here's the multi-million-dollar question. Who's actually right here? Is it the junior employee protecting their weekend hustle and personal skills? Or is it the team leader who's just trying to level up the entire organization's capability? Take a second and pick a side in your head. Because honestly, while this sounds like just some petty micro-conflict in one random marketing department, it's actually a massive global issue playing out everywhere, from tiny startups to giant corporate conglomerates.
Section 2. The Transformation Paradox. Individual versus organization.
Let's zoom out and look at the macro data, because this crisis has actually been building for a while. Microsoft and LinkedIn put out this massive Work Trend Index report, surveying 20,000 people across 10 countries, and the timeline is fascinating. Back in 2024, AI snuck into the workplace, mostly through employees using their personal accounts. Then, around 2025, we saw these frontier companies emerge, with leaders confidently promising fully digital workforces within a year. But now, we're in 2026, and those grand corporate plans have largely stalled out, while individual employees just keep racing ahead.
The report officially dubs this the transformation paradox. Basically, it's a systemic workplace gap where individual employees adapt to AI at breakneck speed, but their organizations completely fail to keep pace with their culture or their systems. It's like individuals are pulling straight A's in upskilling, but their companies are barely scraping by with a D- in readiness. The tools are there, the people are willing, but the corporate framework is literally missing in action.
And when you break down the math on who actually succeeds with AI, the numbers are kind of shocking. A whopping 67% of the value comes from organizational factors, compared to just 32% from individual factors. Think about what that actually means for a second. Having a supportive company culture matters twice as much as your own personal brilliance. If your company punishes risk-taking or has zero reward system in place, even an absolute AI genius is only going to generate half the value they could in an open environment.
Section 3. Where does our company stand? So how can you self-diagnose your own AI readiness? If we map organizational readiness against individual skill, 4 distinct groups emerge. Up in the top right, sitting at 19%, you've got the frontier. Both the company and the person are primed to innovate. In the middle, half the workforce is emergent, basically just trying to figure it out. But focus on that 10% in the blocked agents category. This is where you have highly skilled individuals who are being completely held back by their orgs. Remember our prompt hoarding junior from earlier? Yeah, they live right here.
And being stuck there creates some massive psychological friction. Check this out. 65% of employees are terrified of falling behind if they don't use AI, yet 55% intentionally stay quiet about their new workflows. Why on earth would they do that? Well, because a mere 13% actually expect to get any praise or reward for trying something new. People are literally just trying to survive the week out of fear of obsolescence, and they're hiding in the shadows because their company offers absolutely zero incentive to share.
Section 4. Secrets of the Top 16% Frontiers.
So, what's the secret sauce for that elite tier successfully navigating this paradox? Frontier professionals generally rely on 3 distinct habits. First, they don't just use AI for simple, single tasks. They deploy multi-step AI agents to execute complex routines. Second, they are constantly redesigning their daily workflows. And third, and this is key, instead of hiding their knowledge, they actively create AI standards and methodologies for their entire team. Thanks to these habits, 80% of this group report achieving things they couldn't have even imagined a year ago. It's a real game changer.
But okay, here's a massive, completely counterintuitive twist about these ultra-productive top users. 43%. Take a wild guess what that number represents among the most elite corporate AI users in the world. Believe it or not, 43% represents the portion of frontier professionals who intentionally choose to work without AI sometimes. No way, right? But it's true. The absolute best AI users in the world know exactly when to turn the tools off. Before they even start a task, they pause, analyze the job, and strictly separate what should get handed to an agent and what requires deep, human critical thinking. They do this specifically to maintain their human edge, making sure their own skills stay sharp while maintaining ultimate quality control.
Section 5. Why leaders must use AI.
Let's bring this data back to local reality and see how we actually close this gap. In a recent CIO magazine survey of nearly 900 IT professionals, AI expectations are basically split right down the middle. About 41% say generative AI has met expectations, but another 41% say it completely fell short. Why such a massive divide? Because you have executives up in boardrooms dreaming up these futuristic AI overhauls, while the frontline workers are down in the trenches begging for basic prompt guidelines. The disconnect is staggering.
Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway of this explainer. To fix this massive disconnect between grand expectations and frontline reality, there is only one real solution. The gap won't close until the leaders actually log in and use the AI themselves. I know, it sounds incredibly simple, right? But it's absolutely crucial. It's the missing link in corporate transformation. When managers actually roll up their sleeves and use the tech, the cascading positive effects are incredible. Data shows that when leadership adopts AI, employee trust dramatically increases. It sends a loud, clear signal that it's safe to experiment. It takes that secretive, insecure shadow AI culture, like our junior employee hiding their prompts, and replaces it with a culture of secure, rewarded, and collaborative innovation.
The transformation paradox is very real, and it is actively separating the companies that will thrive from those that are going to stagnate. At the end of the day, it comes down to culture just as much as it comes down to software. So I'll leave you with this to consider about your own workplace. Will your organization adapt its systems to the future, or will your best talent keep their most powerful prompts hidden in the shadows? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope this helps you navigate the changing world of work.